Hi, I'm Chris Francisco. I'm the Associate Head for Lower Division Instruction in the Math Department at Oklahoma State University. We're a four-year research institution located in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and we have a little over 20,000 students that we serve. I'd like to tell you a little bit today about the efforts that we've undertaken at OSU to improve student success in entry-level math courses. And I'll begin by describing our general placement scheme and talk a little bit about our co-requisite model of instruction. And I'd like to share some data about the effectiveness of this approach as well. So in order to place students in math classes, we use as an initial screen the online ALEX placement test, which is an adaptive placement test that kind of gives an initial screen for our students so that we know kind of roughly which course they belong in. We try to avoid high stakes testing as much as possible. So students get multiple attempts at the exam, they get access to ALEX's free online learning modules to try to refresh their memories, and we give free tutoring in our math tutoring center for them. Our cutoff score for the regular college algebra sections is 45 out of 100, but students who score as many as 15 points below that can take the co-requisite sections of college algebra. And we have a similar scheme that we put in place for our non-STEM track as well. The co-requisite instructions meet 5 days a week rather than the usual 3, and we use those extra 2 days to provide additional support to the students that I'll describe a bit later. The co-requisite sections have the same rigor, they give the same exams, and they're graded the same way as the regular sections. They just provide the additional support that some of these students need. Right now, we're running 3 fall co-requisite instructions in college algebra, which accounts for about 70% of the demand we have for these sections. And we're piloting 1 co-requisite section in the non-STEM class this fall, and that'll meet about 1/3 of the demand. We hope to meet 100% of the demand within the next couple of years. So let me describe what our co-requisite model in college algebra looks like. Our classes meet 5 days a week for 50 minutes at the same time each day. For us, it was important to structure it so that since a lot of this population is new freshmen, this was very similar to what they might have seen in high school, that they go to math at the same time every day and they do the math homework at exactly the same time, and they don't have any sort of breaks in their schedule. The Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes are essentially identical to regular sections, so the same sorts of activities. However, we also have an undergraduate learning assistant who sits in on those classes and helps with in-class activities. The learning assistant leads the Tuesday, Thursday sections, and they supervise the activities that the students do in groups that the course coordinator has prepared. Having an undergraduate do this is good for us for a number of reasons. It's certainly cheaper for us than TAs or adjuncts, but it's also really good because these are our top undergraduate students, and they're often better than all but our very best TAs in doing this. They have a really good rapport with the students. There are a couple types of activities we do in these sections. One is to kind of refresh the students' memories on prerequisite material, and the other is to give just extra practice on that college level course material that many of these students need. We try to give them a lot of encouragement during the semester and talk about study skills and work habits. So here's some of our data from fall 2015, and we're really proud of how this went in that semester. The co-requisite sections, you can see the students succeeded at a rate of almost 2/3. So we consider a success to be a C or better. 65.5% of the students in the co-requisite sections earned a C or better, which is just a little bit below how the students did in the regular sections. This is despite the fact that the co-requisite students came in with lower placement scores and did much worse on in-class diagnostics that we did at the very beginning of the semester. In addition to that, the proportion of first-generation students in the co-requisite sections, so those who were first in their family to go to college, was about twice as high in those co-requisite sections, and you'll notice they actually did better than their peers in the regular sections did, 68.7% to 63%. If you compare that to the average historical success rates for those who started in developmental math and then took college algebra, about 30% of those students passed the college algebra class, but that actually even overstates the success rate for that track because only about 60% of students even passed the remedial class, so we're really looking at more like 18%. Even more interesting to us was how the students did in the following semester. So we tracked those students who succeeded in the co-requisite college algebra to see how they did in the course they took in the spring, which was either trig or business calculus or a statistics course. Most of the students who succeeded in the co-requisite college algebra did move on to a subsequent course in the spring, and they had kind of an astonishing 83.7% success rate in that subsequent class. I think we're looking at roughly a 70 to 75% success rate overall in that group of classes. So this was really astounding to us that they did that well. It shows they learned the material well in the co-requisite classes, and they probably gain some insight into study skills and work habits as well. We're engaged in a number of other co-requisite and curricular efforts. We're mainly trying to get non-STEM students out of college algebra as much as possible and into our math functions class, which is a math modeling alternative to college algebra, which has been very successful in preparing students for business calculus and to take higher level statistics courses. We have our co-requisite pilot in that course starting this fall that we're very excited about. We also allow that course to satisfy the prerequisite for college algebra because students tend to gain work ethic and mathematical maturity when they take it, even though it's a very different type of course. We're trying very hard to coordinate tutoring done in our Math Success Center as well so that students get a consistent message across campus. So some areas in which I might be able to help your institution. I can certainly talk about instruction in a co-requisite approach for entry-level math classes and what we've set up here, kind of what snags we've encountered and what we've done to overcome them. How we use a placement test in an effort to avoid high-stakes testing but still adequately screen students to figure out what class they belong in and do this in conjunction with all of our other efforts. We've done a lot of work to really overhaul lower division math here, inside and outside the department, talking to people about how to get resources, how to get funding for these things, and trying to talk to faculty about the advantages of these approaches. We've paid a lot of attention to local data to identify the right courses for students and how certain populations are faring. And I'm also able to talk about special issues that arise at research institutions. This is a population that's sometimes overlooked at research institutions, and there are some issues that come up that you have to be able to talk to administrators and faculty about to make sure everything works. So I wish you the best of success in your efforts, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can.